I visited Chicago for the first time a bunch of years ago, and I thought, wow, this city's kind of cool. It looks something like New York. And this is before I lived in New York. And I thought, I think I want to live here for a little while. Fast forward a few years, I ended up moving there and living there for 3.5 years. The city is laid out right on Lake Michigan. I mean, how beautiful is that? And sometimes the watercolor in the summertime reminded me of the watercolor in the Gulf Coast. I mean, it looks amazing. So Chicago was really awesome. One thing that I did notice about it, at least when I had lived there, was it was a little bit segregated. A lot of American cities are. Not necessarily on purpose, but a lot of times people have a tendency to gravitate towards what they're accustomed to, how they grew up, or with a certain language. So you have your Polish neighborhoods, Hasidic neighborhoods. You have in the South Side is predominantly Black, and you have your Mexican neighborhoods, and you have, different groups all over, a small German area. But then there were a few areas like Oak Park, Evanston, and Hyde Park that seemed a lot more mixed and integrated, which I thought was really cool. And all in all, Chicago was a pretty great place. So this time I decided to travel a little bit more in the suburbs and check out some of the other areas of Chicago that I hadn't seen when I lived there. And a friend of mine had told me about this place on the north side in Wilmette called the Baha'i House of Worship. In Brown Passport, I talk often about race. They also cover topics of gender and faith. Oftentimes faith seems to be a subject people try and avoid, yet really, in the end, we're all people. It's about the oneness of humanity. And if we're here living together, then the best way to live together is to understand each other better. So why not go and ask questions about a faith I knew nothing about?
I was so enamored coming into the Baha'i faith with the teachings of the prophet and founder Baha'u'llah, because he said that people of African descent were likened to the pupil of the eye, and I know the pupil of the eye is where the light shines through. I was enamored with that. In a society where people of color had been downtrodden and had been going through a lot of misfortune, where would we be placed? Where are we placed? The Baha'i faith is a worldwide religion. The primary principle of the faith is the oneness of humanity. Acceptance of the oneness of humanity demands that prejudice of every kind, whether racial, religious, or gender-related, must be eliminated. The injustices that currently beset America are long-standing illnesses. They're symptoms of long-standing illnesses in America. What can we do spiritually, together, collectively, in order to heal these issues of racism in our society? And so Baha'is have a twofold mission. And the first one is to regenerate our communities with three things, and that's love, inclusiveness, and reciprocity. And the second thing is to assail this issue, this long-standing issue of racism that has left this ugly stain on America. And in order to do that, we all have to come together as one.
In the Baha'i faith, all faiths all religions are welcome. So you can still be Muslim, Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, Jewish, whatever, and come into the Baha'i faith and just be all together in meditation or in prayer or just in quiet time.
Having become a Baha'i, I learned that here in the Chicago area was the national center of the Baha'is. So I came to the Baha'i House of Worship. And that was my first time seeing a large number of people who had a very similar belief coming together. I came to the Chicago area first to go to the meeting of Baha'is in the area. And I became a Baha'i right at the end of the sit-ins in Greensboro. In Greensboro, I found out that there was this little Baha'i community in Greensboro, North Carolina, and the only place they could meet was in the Black community. I started listening to the teachings, the oneness of mankind, equality of people, and those were things that attracted me. But to see that there was a little group then that was integrated, and I just didn't even know they existed. So this whole idea of the oneness of humanity, which is a part of the Baha'i faith, but also is a part of all religious groups, that we are one people. It's just been hard for us to understand that.
It was really great to come back to Chicago for a quick visit, and I look forward to coming back and exploring more of the city, parts that I have not seen of the city and the surrounding areas. And it was awesome to spend time in the afternoon with Lurenza and Van at the Baha'i House of Worship, just north of the city in Wilmette, walking around the grounds and seeing people of all different faiths engaging in conversation, often about religion, with no arguments, no pushback, none of that. Just open eyes, open ears, open arms. It was truly awesome. So until next time.